So you mentioned Rafael Devers. You know where he looks atrocious at? Playing third base. You talked about Alex Bregman stealing his thunder. He's a Gold Glove defensive third baseman. You're not gonna not play Alex Bregman at third base. I have been saying this throughout the entire offseason. Why?
Drive into left. At the wall. It's gone. Tie game.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Throwing Partners podcast. It's Kirby, Joe, and Nate here coming to you on a Sunday night. Every series has been completed now, and the Braves suck. It has been a horrible opening weekend for them and the Tigers, respectfully. But Joe, your team seemed to have a pretty decent weekend. So I'm going to let you get started with a quick Astros update, and then Nathan and I will talk about our team. So kick us off, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, the Astros are already off to a better start than they were last year, winning 2 of 3 against the New York Mets. And even with Juan Soto in the building, the Astros were still able to win 2 out of the 3 games of the series, dropping the middle game. I got to say, I'm really happy with the results so far. Or not the results, I should say, but the process. The process for the Astros has been good. The results for the offense haven't exactly been there. But over time, baseball tends to level out. I do expect balls to fall. I don't expect Christian Walker to have, a 135 batting average after a scorching 5 balls over 105 miles per hour. I just don't expect that trend to continue over the season. Now, everybody has been on Christian Walker's case, saying, oh, he's just Jose Abreu 2.0. When Jose Abreu made his debut and after the first couple games, you could already tell that his bat speed was just not there. Christian Walker has been torching the ball and just finding gloves, okay? So I am not concerned at all. The only concern I have with Christian Walker is if he can stay healthy over 162. Because what he's doing right now has been impressive to see. As I mentioned, those exit velocities, I mean, he's torching the ball, but I just want him to stay healthy over the course of the season. That's my only concern. The pitching has looked great. Unless you're named Josh Hader or Jose Abreu, not Jose, Brian Abreu. Everybody else coming out of the bullpen, Hunter Brown, Spencer Arrighetti, Framber Valdez have all looked great. Outside of the 2 guys you probably are leaning on the most, they both had problems finding the strike zone. Brian Abreu in both of his outings, was not able to really command the strike zone very well. And then Josh Hader in his first outing wasn't able to either. They both threw over 25 pitches in their first outing, making it really close. And then again, both of them stressing me out on that Saturday game. I figure that they will again, level out over the course of a season, but it's really nerve-wracking when the 2 guys that you are going to be depending on the most to close out games are having this kind of a start to a season. But I just want to move on to the offense because maybe not a lot of people are too happy with the offense thus far, being that they've only had 2 extra base hits with that Jeremy Pena home run, which was the first home run of the season and our 3rd game of the season. And then the Yordan Alvarez double, again, happening at that 3rd game. We had gone, I believe it was over 27, I believe it was 24 innings or 21 innings without an extra base hit. And then Jeremy Pena's home run broke that. And then Yordan subsequently followed up with a double after that. But the hard hit percentages and then the process for the Astros are there. I think for them right now, it's honestly just finding gaps. And playing at Minute Maid is really conducive to, not finding gaps because the field, the left fielder is able to cheat so far over into that left center gap that everybody else can kind of then subsequently cheat over, more to the right of them. The right fielder is basically playing down the line. The center fielder is basically playing right center. It's really hard to find a gap unless you're hitting the ball over someone's head or you're hitting it straight down the line. So that's really been, the problem with the offense so far. But other than that, I'm been really encouraged with the at bats that everybody on the team has taken. Um, I mean, Jake Myers had 2 hits the first game. Jeremy Pena has looked decent. Yainer Diaz is looking like Yainer Diaz. Maybe Jordan is honestly the only person on the team that has not looked really good at the plate. He's come up in some big situations thus far, with Altuve and Isak getting on base a majority of the time, and he has just not been able to drive them in outside of that double that he hit. But other than that, everybody has been taking really good at bats. Cam Smith has looked really good in his first 2 games. He has taken some big league at bats, and he has had some big league takes. Because he kind of got screwed over, and I think it was the first or second game, because those were the only 2 that he's played in thus far. But he should have had a walk, and he got called out on strikes and a ball outside of the zone. But I think he's already had like 3 walks. He only has the 1 hit, but he's looked really good as well. He's been taking some really good ABs. He hasn't looked overmatched, and he's looked really good thus far. So I'm excited to see how he progresses over the season. Isak has looked good. Altuve is a hit machine as always. I think he already has 2 multi-hit games. So I expect the offense to perform a lot better than what we've seen. The Mets are also just a really good pitching team. I mean, there were question marks going into the season about their pitching, mainly because of the injuries. But their pitching, I mean, looked very good. So again, it was kind of that most of those games were a pitching duel. So again, I'm not too concerned. I do think that the Astros have more pop in their bats than they did last year, and I will expect to see that even out over the course of the rest of the season. So again, I'm really excited about what I've seen so far and the moves over the off season, and I think that over the next 100 and whatever games that the Astros offense will start to click as the process continues to be better than what it has been in the last couple of years, with them chasing so many pitches out of the zone and not taking really good at bats.
Definitely, I agree, Joe. Nathan, how about the Tigers? Let's hear from you.
Well, like everybody in the world can see, we're 0-3. But what I do want to talk about is this 0-3 is a lot different than, say, Atlanta Braves 0-3. Sorry.
0-4. Thank you very much.
Yes, yeah, you're right. The game did just end, correct. So opening night, we had Schoolboy pitching against Snell. Honestly, first 4.5 innings, it was pretty good. It was 1-1. Top of the 5th, we came in, took the lead, and then Schoolboy unfortunately gave up a 3-run nuke to Teoscar Hernandez. So definitely suboptimal start for him. And honestly, at that point, I kind of thought this game was over, but I think the Tigers definitely turned a page on last season, because what I saw after that was players having really good at bats, and we battled back and took the lead in the 8th, or in the 7th. No, we tied it up in the 7th. Yeah. And then the Dodgers took the lead back in the bottom of the 7th, and we got one back in the 8th. And in the 9th, when we were facing Trinan, we had runners on. We were taking really good at bats. We were shooting the ball really well, and we were honestly just one timely swing away from taking that game back and pushing them back into the bottom of the 9th with the lead. A lot of other improvements I saw. I think Spencer Torkelson, I don't want to say it's too soon, but Torque had an incredible game on opening day. He had a home run, first off, and that was technically his only recordable at bat of the day. He ended the day with 4 walks. He had 4 walks and a home run on the day. And he's been maybe our biggest talking point of the season, off season. What are we going to do with Spencer Torkelson? And management let him know before opening day that they needed to see some sort of improvement or turnaround from him. And so far, I don't know what gotten into him. If he changed up his swing, his mechanics, his timing, something, whatever it is, whatever he did, it's working. Because we come into day two. we were looking at Yamamoto versus Jack Flaherty. Okay. This game's kind of how the first game went. It was we went up 2-0 in the third, and then in the sixth, Dodgers strike back, tied it up, took the lead in the eighth, and we tied it up in the ninth, and went into extras and took the lead off of a Dylan Dingler single. Bless you, by the way, Joe. This game was Dylan Dingler's game. He had a home run and he had a triple. So this guy is on fire. Another guy that was going to be catcher 1B. And he had as bad of a bat as Jake Rogers does. But he's on fire. He's on fire to start off the season against the best team in the league. Unfortunately, like everyone knows, Mookie Betts hit a walk-off 3-run homer in this game. I don't know how much I want to talk about it, but we're just gonna keep moving on. Game 3, we played it was Reese Olson versus Roki Sasaki. The prodigal son's debut. Yeah, we foiled it. Roki only went for 1.2, I believe it was.
Yep.
Yeah, he went for 1.2. So we got to him early and knocked him out. And then they had their own bullpen chaos. They had Dreyer, Kasperius, Banda, Garcia, Kirby Yates, and then they ended up with Trinan. But I think what I'm trying to say is this 0 for 3 or 0-3 is bad, definitely. But we turned the page on our offense. Last year we had really strong pitching and not a lot of offense. This year, so far, I've seen we've had pretty solid offense, especially out of Torkelson. We're finally getting some production out of him. His batting average at the end of the game yesterday on the season is 444. I'm happy with it. He's on fire. Some of the other guys we still need to get started. Carp, Riley Green, Colt Keith, Trey Sweeney, those guys are still asleep. They're still looking for those spring training arms. But all in all, I'm not worried. So far, the only issues we've had has been on the mound. I think I think those guys are still a little asleep. Probably used to looking at AAA, AA guys in spring training. Still a little wild, but no red alarms yet. I think so far we're doing okay. Our next series is up against, I want to say it's San Diego.
Oh, we're just flip-flopping then. Good for you.
Oh, we're going to Seattle. We're going to Seattle tomorrow. So another tough one, another good pitching staff, but like we spoke about, their offense is definitely subpar. So hopefully we can tighten it up in the pen on the mound and come out with 3 W's here, get back to 500. So we'll see.
Well, Nathan, you have a lot more positive things to say about your team than I do. For one, let me just say this. I am wearing my throwback jersey tonight for a couple of reasons. First of all, I really love this color. Second of all, my mom is the reason I am a Braves fan. She started watching them in the 80s when they sucked, and this was one of the jerseys that they wore at the time. So I'm just kind of reverting back to the day that they sucked, because that's exactly what they did this weekend. Opening day was actually a really exciting game. We saw they were up 4-3 going into the later innings, and you saw Brian Snitker make some boneheaded bullpen decisions. They blew that game and lost 7-4. The offense looked good. There was actually 2 home runs that were, I don't want to say they were robbed, but man, they should have gone out. Like it was very close. You had an Ozzy Albies miss one and Drake Baldwin miss one, both of which were at the wall. Another 5 foot on both of them, and you would have had 2 more home runs, and they probably ended up winning that game. So that kind of sucked. But regardless, wasn't a horrible game. Chris Sale wasn't exactly sharp. But I mean, when you go through 5 innings, you only give up 3 runs. It's not a terrible start. So that was game 1. Game 2 and game 3 and game 4 all had the same outcome as well. They lost. Games 2 through 4 had absolutely no offense for the most part. The Braves lost game 2, 4-3. They lost that game in later innings. That sucked. Yesterday they lost. They got shut out, and today they also got shut out. So like I said, there's not a lot of positive things to say. If you're a position player right now, you 100% deserve to just get the biggest butt chewing there is, because that is unacceptable. I know that they have some really good arms on that team. However, that's just not acceptable. You are a professional baseball player, and your job is to put the ball in play and to hit. And today, getting shut out, they had a whopping 1 hit. In the words of the great late Bob Uecker, 1 hit, 1 damn hit. That's all you had. No, you stop it. You can't say that on the radio. Well, that nobody cares because nobody's listening anyway. Okay, from Major League. If y'all caught my reference. But needless to say, it was a horrible showing. There's no sense of urgency at the plate. There's no let's extend this at bat, especially from some of your stars. We've seen Jerks and Profar have some really good at bats. And the one guy on the offensive side that I actually want to give a shout out to is Drake Baldwin. Drake Baldwin's the rook, but let me tell you, he has had some very professional at bats. He sees a ton of pitches. He's not swinging at a bunch of crap in the dirt or stuff that's way out of the zone. He was actually rung up on a call to end the game yesterday. That was probably 4 inches high. And the umpire scorecard actually showed that today in their graphic. It looked to me like it was just barely out of the zone on TV, but when they showed that graphic today, I said, wow, that was an absolutely horrible call. Literally letter high. Unacceptable for the umpire. But Baldwin should have had a walk there. He's also hit the piss out of the ball. He has hit it extremely hard, which is a great sign for the kid. I'm really excited about how he looks at the plate. He also has called some good games back there as well. And then also he actually has he's got a good arm back there too. His pop time yesterday was 194, which is by no means elite, but it was better than Sean Murphy's last year. So that, I mean, take with it what you will. We saw a really good outing from Spencer Schwellenbach in Game 3. He went 6 innings. He only gave up 1 hit, no runs, and he had 4 Ks. So I mean, just an outstanding start from Swelly. That guy is extremely talented. I think by the end of the year he becomes, if not the 2 guy, then like the 1. Then he might be the ace, guys. He is that talented. We'll see how Chris Sale looks in his next start, but I have all the confidence in the world right now in him. Next thing I want to say is get Orlando Arcia off this team. I'm so tired of watching him take at bats. Give me Nick Allen every day. I actually like watching Nick Allen taking at bats. He's really athletic as well. He doesn't have as good of an arm as Arcia, but my God, I don't know how many more of these Orlando Arcia at bats I can watch at the plate. They're atrocious. I know he had the only hit today, but my God, I'd rather just been no hit than watch him play. They have now been shut out for 22 straight innings. For those of you who don't know, there's only 9 innings in a game. So yeah, that's quite a bit of time now. So you're talking about 2 full games plus half of another. So it's horrible. Absolutely piss poor performance from the offense. The pitching staff overall has not looked bad, especially the starters. Even today, you had AJ Smith-Shawver go. He only went 4 innings, but he only gave up 2 runs. I think he had either 13 or 14 swings and misses as well, which was very encouraging. But overall, just the offense. Come on, guys. I don't know if it needs to be reshuffled. I would probably put Baldwin at the top right now because he has such a great approach. But overall, just very frustrating. I was so excited Thursday, and that excitement has gone straight south. So needless to say, I don't really want to talk about them anymore because they've been absolutely terrible. So anyway, what else? What's the next thing we want to talk about? I have a feeling I know what it is.
Well, we have some controversy that has been sweeping the league and making headlines all over the place, and that it has to do with the bearded Bronx Bombers, who put up absolute historic numbers to start off the season. Their current run differential is at plus 22, and they did that against a team in the Milwaukee Brewers. They're supposed to be a pitching lab, um, and everybody is coming to the conclusion that they were able to do that because of the torpedo bats. So, Kirby, do you want to get a little bit into what a torpedo bat is for all of the new people that may not be familiar with that term?
So, if you have ever looked at a baseball bat, obviously the handle starts smaller, and as you get towards the barrel, it gets larger. Okay, that's pretty simple. However, the torpedo bats, as they're calling them, are shaped just a hair differently. They are it goes larger towards the barrel, and then it has it's larger at the sweet spot, but then it actually tapers off smaller towards the very end. It's not really exaggerated that much, but you can tell when you look at the bat itself. The Jazz Chisholm picture is really clear of how it kind of looks and how it's kind of shaped. I think it's really interesting myself because me personally, I have never really liked like an in-loaded bat. I've always liked more of a balanced bat. And if you are finding and able to put more solid wood on an actual sweet spot, then kudos to you. The physicist that figured this out, this dude needs to be a billionaire yesterday. And I don't know how somebody else has not figured this out already. We've had baseball bats for 115 years now, 120 years, whatever, however long it's 150 years. So I'm not sure how we haven't figured this out yet. But kudos to that guy. I would personally love to swing one just to see how it feels. Because I have a feeling that you could really get through the zone a lot quicker, and a lot smoother. And if you're putting better wood on it, then that's great. And also, too, the Braves ordered some. I hope that they are on a red-eye flight to LA right now because, my God, we need something to go our way. Whether it's luck, whether it's a torpedo bat, or maybe the game just gets rained out and we just delay one more day because I really don't want to watch that shit again. That was horrible. So Nathan, what are your thoughts on these torpedo bats?
Like you said, I think this is genius. 2025, and we're still figuring out ways to loophole the rules. Ever since it's been discovered, I should say, that they were using these torpedo bats, I've seen nothing but hate on X, on Facebook, on everything. Oh, the Yankees are cheating. Oh, it's the Yankees, so of course MLB is going to let it happen. Listen, people, these guys are not breaking any sort of rules, okay?
Nope.
If we refer to the MLB rules, Rule 3.02 is the bat. In Section A, the bat shall be a smooth, round stick no more than 2.61 inches in diameter at the thickest part and not more than 42 inches in length. And the bat shall be one solid piece of wood. There is nothing here that has changed in the manufacturing of this baseball bat. It is still cut from one solid blank. The only thing that has changed is the model profile that was turned. Okay? The barrel's still 2.61 inches in diameter, and it's still less than 42 inches long. Listen, I think you would need to be a giant to be swinging 42 inches anyways. But there is nothing here that these guys are doing that's illegal. All they're simply doing is manipulating the rules and, of course, the turn on the bat to be in favor of their hitters. Like I was telling you guys in the pre-talk show, Alex Bregman a couple years ago, he did a bat fitting with Marucci, with Victus, and they did their own thing. They figured out where Alex Bregman's optimal sweet spot is based off his height, his swing, and if anybody in the audience thinks that this doesn't happen or it's cheating, I think we need to have a serious word about your attitude and your thought process. Because Kirby, like you were saying, pitchers have been getting all sorts of advantages over the past few years. The sticky stuff, although it's been banned, like it's an advantage. Like, yeah, they've had hitters with corked bats, but like you could pretty much figure out when that's going on. And now these guys are getting an advantage back, a chance to have harder batted balls, more batted balls, better contact, a higher chance of having good contact. I mean, the bigger of a barrel you can have in your sweet spot, I would say you're going to have generally a higher probability of getting clean contact on a ball. I don't see a problem with it. I think it's great. And
I'm just happy
like
for the
you,
hitter.
I hope, and like you said, I hope we're getting a set of Victus Torpedo bats going up to Seattle with us this weekend or this week too. So, I think it's good. I think it's good for the game.
I
I
think
think
it's great.
it's crazy to see something so obscure like that just breaks the internet for baseball.
I literally hate pitcher duels. There is nothing worse, in my opinion, than a pitcher's duel. I hate those 2-1, 1-0,
Oh
3-2
man.
games. I need to see some freaking offense. I like guys putting good wood on the ball and putting one out of the park, hitting doubles into gaps, hitting a double down the line, blasting a ball, in for a single somewhere. Anything. But I hate a pitcher's duel. Oh my God, I hate it. But of course, I've always been more on the offensive side of the game than, the pitching or defensive side, even though I do appreciate those things. I appreciate 98 dotted up. I appreciate somebody making a great play. But I have always loved the offensive side of the game. I love the lineup construction. I love all of the, the bat data, the batted ball data, all of that stuff. I love all that. So I'm really excited. I hope that every team in the league adopts it. Joe, what are your thoughts on it? You may have a different thought than us.
Well, everybody thinks that the magic was coming from the barrel of the bat. I think the magic is coming from the fact that the Yankees finally allowed their players to have beards. I think that's where all the power is coming from, not the barrel of the bat.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy how, this game has been around for over 100 years and we're just now finding, a different innovation to implement into the game. I do think that the implementation of the bat itself is a little strange. Like the fact that no one before, John Sterling reported it on the Yankees broadcast was talking about these bats. And the fact that it has come out that this is not exclusive to the Yankees organization. And it's not even exclusive to one brand. Louisville Slugger has a turn model now. Victus has a turn model as well. And I'm sure that other, bat manufacturers are going to start implementing this and profiling player swings and suggesting this kind of turn model to them. Now, some players are reluctant to, adopt a new style barrel. They're kind of set in their ways with tradition. And they think that, it might mess up their swing or, it might change something. But I mean, the science is the science, and I don't understand people's reluctance to rely on science when it comes to things like this, because it's only there to better the results and the process. Making a bat more dense at the part where you are more likely to hit it with a ball. Is going to produce better results over the course of a year. Over the course of 162 games, you're going to see better results based off of that. So I think it's interesting. I'd absolutely need to see the Astros start swinging this. That mixed with the Crawford boxes and the short right field as well. I'm just saying. I think it is a long-term. I'm thinking about long-term success. I think if the Astros, got their hands on this bat as well, I think the sky's the limit. I think it's honestly what they need. since they still are going through a little bit of a power outage at the moment. I think they need to get those bats in the clubhouse. They need to start getting acclimated to them, and then they need to start hitting dingers with them. So I do think it's interesting. And again, I do find it a little strange that it is predominantly starting with the Yankees. And now it's trickling down. I feel like if it had gone the other way, if it was the Astros, everybody would be up their case, calling them cheaters. But no one, I mean, people are calling the Yankees cheaters. I can't say that no one's calling them cheaters, but it's interesting the way that this wasn't talked about beforehand is all I'm gonna say.
Well, I completely agree. And, if you would have thought too, like during spring training, you would have heard something about it because somebody had to notice it. Somebody had to see,
Exactly.
like, oh, look, the bat looks different. Why is it tapered off at the end? Why does the middle look kind of fat?
And you can argue that spring training is where most journalists get their,
Yes.
get their stories from, because that's when the players are most readily available to the media. So the fact that this is only just now coming out is so strange to me. And the fact that while the Yankees have gotten all the headlines for it, other teams do have access to these turn models. So I think it's just, I think a lot of the suspicion with the Yankees comes with the fact that they had a historic, series against the Brewers. That 22 plus run differential is crazy. And they put up 22 runs in the second game of the season, I think. So I mean, just an absolutely insane offensive start to the season for the Bronx Bombers. I think is what's really caught everybody's eyes and attention.
I agree. Well, moving on from the Torpedo bats, we did see some really exciting stuff opening weekend. We saw the Marlins walk off all 3 games against the Pirates, which, that's both of those teams, that's kind of a battle of the suck. But I can't really talk right now because my team just looked even worse than both of those teams did. But also, too, I think one of the most exciting things we saw actually on opening day was Mackenzie Gore start. That dude straight up dominated in his start against the Phillies, who have a good offense. So shout out to the Nats and Mackenzie Gore. They also debuted their City Connects this weekend, which looked pretty. I think they look pretty sharp. So those were kind of my initial thoughts from opening weekend. Besides, obviously, the Yankees literally torpedoing the Brewers. Other than that, I'm not. There's nothing that's coming to mind that's really stood out. The A's starters have looked fantastic this weekend, so that was very promising for them. How about Rafi Ding Dongs? Rafael Devers, who looks like Rafi DFA right now, because that dude is like 0 for 16 with 12 Ks. Historically horrible start. He's on pace to have like 486 Ks this year, according to Hector Gomez, which I find just outrageous. Because he's really not a big, a high strikeout guy, but he has looked horrible. Alex Bregman totally stole his thunder by taking his spot and them moving him to DH. But if I'm Rafael right now, I am calling David Ortiz and asking him, what am I supposed to do? Because I look horrible up here. And getting any kind of advice that I could as a DH. Because my God, he looks atrocious up there. I mean, nobody wants to start the year 0 for 16 anyway, but with 12 strikeouts, buddy, you need some help. So those are just kind of my thoughts on opening weekend.
Well, so you mentioned Rafael Devers. You know where he looks atrocious at? Playing third base. You talked about Alex Bregman stealing his thunder. He's a Gold Glove defensive third baseman. You're not going to not play Alex Bregman at third base. I have been saying this throughout the entire offseason. Why? Third base is a premium defensive position. And you had one of the best third basemen defensively. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, one of the worst third basemen in the league since he had, debuted. you were never not gonna put Alex Bregman at third base. So if Rafael Devers is in his feelings about only being a DH and not being valued as a fielder, then buddy, that's a skills issue. Get your skills up, go work on your defense, and then maybe you can earn that spot, because you're not going to take away Alex Bregman, reigning Gold Glove winning third baseman's spot at third base. You're just not, especially with like a negative DSR. You're not. I'm sorry. You can go cry about it on the bench in between at bats, because that's where you're going to be, buddy. Unless you want to go play first base. I'm just saying. Some other things coming out of the AL East. The Rays, in their first official game, played in Tampa Bay as the Tampa Bay Rays, win in a walk-off. I thought that was really cool. Now, it was against the Rockies. The Rockies are not a very good organization, but really, baseball always has those moments. And it's kind of why people, love the game. It's with those special moments that you just kind of like almost feel like they're scripted. And some people will argue that they are scripted, but it's just a really good, first win for the Rays in Tampa Bay. So that was pretty cool to see.
Definitely. Nathan, anything stick out to you that we haven't mentioned yet?
I got a good one. I got an interesting one.
Uh-oh.
I think we should talk about the amount of players right now, qualified hitters in the league without a hit. We have 21. And granted, this is through 2-3 games, 6 to 11 at-bats on average. We have Mike Trout. Mike Trout has not had a hit, and he played against the White Sox these 2 games. That's disappointing. Next on the list, Francisco Lindor. Through 11 at-bats, 0 hits. Wilson Contreras, Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, Jose Ramirez. Granted, Jose Ramirez got hurt. Still does not have a hit. And then, of course, we have our golden child here, Rafael Devers, 10 Ks.
Rafi DFA.
Painful. I think it's crazy. I mean, granted, they're all professionals and they're playing against professionals. It's not easy. We all know it. We've never played against professionals, but playing against people at your level of talent is not easy. But to me, it's just painful to see these guys going through these types of woes early in the year. And of course, at the bottom of the list, Colt Keith. So blow my brains out. That's hard to see.
I hate to be that guy, but Mike Trout on pace to have 0 hits for the season. Breaking news. That's absolutely insane. He should be DFA'd. He should be traded to the Astros. How about that?
Oh wow.
Just for cash consideration, he's a scrub. He doesn't belong in the league anymore. No, but you know what? Let's. We had a conversation a few episodes ago about where the Dodgers are, going to finish out record-wise. I was just saying they're on pace to win 162 games right now. And they look like they have the offense to absolutely do it, because they're never out of the game. And as you know, Nathan, they are, absolutely dominating anybody that steps in front of them at the moment. I know it's only 5 games in, but they manhandled the Cubs. Detroit made it pretty close, here and there, during the series, but ultimately, I mean, their firepower, their star power came through, and, it is what it is. I mean, they're 5-0 at this point.
There's only 4
pace to win
left.
162 games. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Padres, and the Cardinals, who never would have thought the freaking Cardinals, but whatever. Yeah.
I mean, they did play the Twins. So.
I guess that's what happens when you eat the tape off the bat, is your team goes undefeated. Which, quite frankly, I found that absolutely disgusting. Like
That
Yasiel
was
Puig,
disgusting.
like Yasiel Puig used to lick the bat, which okay, that's odd anyway. But to eat the tape off the bat is like you might actually get sick from that. Like there's a chance you get actually sick from that. Like Wilson Contreras is going to end up like Betts and lose 20 pounds because he ate the bat tape. You know, he's going to look like Skinny Betts. But other than that, guys, it was a fun opening weekend here and there. Obviously not for me and Nathan because our team has just sucked. I'm hoping that this
had a
week is
blast.
great. Yeah, Joe, you had a great time. Yeah, go ahead, rub it in.
I did.
We're just role reversing from last year. The Astros had a horrible opening series last year. The Braves had a great opening series. So needless to say, I think we can go ahead and wrap up this pod here. Are y'all good wrapping up? Sounds
Yes, I
great.
am.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in on this Sunday night. If you could, please throw us a like, and we will catch you on the next one. Remember, we are the Throwing Partners Podcast on YouTube and on Apple Podcast. So if you don't like looking at us, you can just listen to us if you'd like. We would appreciate a 5-star review on there and some words of affirmation because those always make us feel good. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we really appreciate it. It's been a fun opening weekend, and we're looking forward to more.